Hello, Rue's Mountain Homestead friends. Today, I need to make some soap. So I'm going to bring you along and show you how I do it. Now, first of all, I'm not going to be using these because of the video and I can't push the button on the camera and other things that I need to do, but this is what you need, and this is what I usually wear. I usually wear gloves. I usually wear some kind of a mask to go over my face, my nose, and a pair of goggles. Now, I don't normally wear the goggles because I have glasses. So, but if you don't have glasses, I would wear goggles. And you're also going to need a thermometer. You're going to need a spatula, maybe a knife, and a spoon, plastic, never metal. I use a stick blender, so you'll need a stick blender unless you want to stand and stir it by hand forever. Masking tape, some parchment paper or wax paper. That goes in your mold. That's what you line your mold with. Now, I use these. There's all different kinds of molds out there. You can use what you want. You need a glass bowl. I have a glass measuring cup, a plastic bowl, your lye, your coconut oil, and you need vinegar. Vinegar neutralizes the lye if you get any on you. You'll also need a scale. The way I do this, I turn my scale on, and I've got it on fluid ounces, and I put my plastic container on the scale, and then I tear it out so it equals 0, and I need 4.8 ounces of lye, Now, I normally do this outside, but it is very, very windy outside. So I've got my windows open, I've got my door open. If you hear birds and stuff, it's because they're opened. Okay, and then I take my glass and I tear it off to where it's 0. And I use distilled water, and I put 9.6 ounces of water. There we go. All right. Put my scale up for a minute. All right, now this is what the mask is for. But if you keep your face back away from it, you should be okay. You need to get a paper towel. All right. You take the lye and you pour it in the water. Don't ever pour your water on the lye. You don't want to do that, it'll explode. But you pour it in a little at a time. If the lye gets on the bottom and it kind of starts to get hard on the bottom, that's okay. Just make sure you keep your face away from it, and you won't breathe it in because it will hurt your lungs. And it does fume. I don't know if you can see that or not. That's why I've got the door open. And as long as you get it mixed up, the cloudy is okay. You don't have to worry about that because it will go away. Now I take my bowl and I rinse it out. take my vinegar and I pour some vinegar in the bowl. And that neutralizes the lye. Now I'm going to set my lye over to the side because right now it's about 175 degrees and it needs to get down in between 95 and 105. So it's going to be a while, so I'm going to wait. I'm done with the distilled water, so I'm going to put it away. I'm going to set my lye over here. That way it's not in my way. Now I take a bowl. And my scale. I turn it back on. I put the bowl on it and tear it off so it's at 0. Then I take my coconut oil and I put it in this plastic bowl. Now this plastic bowl is not what I'm going to be making the soap in. I'm just going to be heating it up. Now this is non-GMO, organically certified coconut oil. Push this forward. Perfect. I'm going to turn my scale off because I don't need it anymore. I'm going to heat this up. I'm going to stick it in the microwave and heat it up. And I'll be right back. Okay, then while all that's doing what it's doing, move this out of my way. I take my mold and I take my parchment paper and I line my mold with the parchment paper. And I'll do that and I'll be right back. I've decided I am going to mix this in here. This is my coconut oil. It's melted. I have my lye. I put my lye outside and we had a tree fall. It's that windy. So I'm going to strain the lye because there's a couple of little things in here I don't want in my soap. And you add your lye very slowly. My little bowl over there that I have some vinegar water in, and that's what I put the strainer in. And then you take your stick blender and you blend it up. Show you or not, but I can do this. Give me just a minute. And I'll bring bring you over here and I'll show you. All right, now I blend this till it's almost like a pudding consistency. It takes about 10 minutes. To about right there. And then I add my essential oils. Now you don't need essential oils in this. Today I'm using what I call thieves oil, but you don't need any. It's antibacterial anyway, but I like the scent. Once you add the oil, it will thicken up pretty quick. And that's good right there. See, that's about like a pudding before you put it in the refrigerator. And I take my mold that I've already got the parchment paper in, and I pour it into my mold. And I take my spatula. You can use a knife, whatever you want to go around, but I go around the edges to make sure it gets down there in the bottom and the corners and everything's incorrect. And then, let me wipe the side. And then you tap it down like you do a cake batter. Level it off. You tap it down to get the bubbles out. And then I like to make a little design on the top just to make it pretty. And I usually have a little left over. So I take that and I put it in my little star molds, little flower molds, whatever molds I've got. My grandkids love this. Every time they come to visit, they're like, "Ma'am, can we have some of that little soap?" And then I tap it down too, like I did the other. That way it gets all the air bubbles out and gets it down into the bottom. Be right back. Then when I'm done, I take my soap mold and I'll show you a picture. I put a couple of empty spaghetti boxes on each side, and then I cover it up with a towel or two. That way it needs to do its thing, and I leave it set for 24 hours. And then once it's set for 24 hours, I'll take the molds off and I'll cut them up and I'll put them on a cookie rack and set them out and let them set for about a week to let them cure. And that's about all there is to making soap. I'll show you how I do this. I put one of these boxes on each side. I use an old towel. And I basically just cover it up. And that's all there is to it. So let's recap. You need to understand, but don't be afraid. Lye is dangerous. If you breathe it in, it'll hurt your lungs. If you get it on your skin, it will hurt you. It won't hurt you right away. You can get it on your skin, but when you do, take you some vinegar, pour it over it, wipe it off, pour the vinegar over it, and you're good to go. The vinegar neutralizes the lye. So always keep your vinegar on hand. But you need your lye, you need distilled water, you need a good quality coconut oil, or you can use other oils. There's a site you can go to figure out what you need to use. I use coconut oil. It makes my skin, I like the way it feels. And I like the way it bubbles. So you need your lye, your distilled water, your coconut oil, and your essential oil if you want to use it. You need a metal or a plastic bowl. You need a glass container to put your distilled water in, and a plastic bowl to measure your lye out with, and then put your lye in the glass bowl. You need a stick blender or a plastic spoon. Stick blender works better and quicker. You also need a plastic spoon and a spatula. You need your mold and something to line your mold with. Now you can line your mold with wax paper or you can line it with parchment paper. Either one, it doesn't matter. The wax paper I find doesn't work as well. It kind of wants to stick to the soap as it's curing. But either one will work. And then you stick blend it. You make sure your lye is between 100 and 105 degrees. You have to let it sit. It takes a little while, sometimes 25 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes, depending on where it's at and how cold it is. But your coconut oil or your oils and your lye have to be the same temperature. If you've got them different temperatures, it won't work real well. You'll get a big volcano looking thing on the top of the soap, and as it's curing, and you don't want to do that. So 100 to 105, then you stick blend it, and then you add your essential oils, pour it in your molds, put it away somewhere, and cover it up, and let it sit for 24 hours. And then after 24 hours, you take it out of the mold and you cut it up. You let it sit on a baking rack for about a week. With the coconut oil, 1 day is enough for it, but I like mine to cure a little harder, so I leave it there for a week or two before I use it. And we use my soap. We use just about everything I make. I make my own shampoo. I make our soap. I make my own toothpaste. And I really enjoy the fact that I know what goes into it. I know that there's good ingredients that goes into what I make. So everybody, you have a blessed day, and thanks for watching. We just had a tree fall. It's that windy. It broke it. I don't know if you can see it. It broke it off up there and fell on our fence.